I want to welcome you to today's presentation. I'm going to talk to you about how to drive leads through the internet. What does it take to bring leads, inbound leads? Because I find that a lot of distributors have a good plan when it comes to going out and selling and following up with their own clients, but it is a challenge to get new clients and grow your business, and you need to always have a flow of new clients coming in. Now, while there is a lot of stuff that needs to be done to achieve inbound lead generation. There is, if you cannot afford to hire a company and you don't have a lot of time, at least you'll know what to do to get started and going in that direction. So we're going to go over quickly. We're going to talk about how to set goals and how many leads to hit your target, and set goals in that sense. The new marketing landscape reality and why you must be found online. The fundamentals of marketing success. What does it take to get this working? The big picture of all the online marketing channels that you should be tapping to maximize your lead flow online. And developing your own custom action plan based on what you need to do to get to the next level. I'd like you to give me your full attention to this. There's going to be a recording, and you can always go back to those parts that you want to look at again. And there's a lot of stuff that might be different from what you're used to hearing. Now, as far as who I am and why you should listen to me, very briefly, I've been working with distributors across the USA since 2015. I used to be a distributor business owner. I grew my business through online marketing. I did networking, I went out, but my bigger leads came from online, my biggest clients. And there is nothing better than having people calling you because they need something and hiring you. It's really amazing. That's why I'm now helping distributors do the same. So I've been a promo kitchen mentor. I've been a board member at my local association. I've been a volunteer at PPAI in different programs. I've also been a speaker and a trainer. And I have regular articles published in PPB magazine and promo marketing publications. So as I said before, I owned a distributor company from 2007. I started that business. And my intention was to grow the business outside of myself. I wasn't looking to be a salesperson / promo salesperson. I was looking to have a business, have employees, and eventually kind of run the business. And I achieved that, as I mentioned, and eventually sold it, then just focused on distributors. I'm a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, and I love that photo of my family. That's my entire family, minus 2 little babies that came last year. My family is spread throughout the world, so this was a rare photo where we were all in the same location. Now, I am very interested in helping the industry advance. I'm interested in helping distributors kind of open their mindset into the new technology era. If the only thing that I achieved today is to open your mind, I will be happy, because the mind that opens to a new idea never returns to its original size. So that's what I want. I want you to expand your horizons. As far as what we do in action, we use digital marketing to generate leads for our clients. And what we do is brand exposure, brand awareness, and SEO, very much focused on SEO, because I believe that distributors can compete with the big guys with the right digital marketing. So the first thing we're going to talk about is setting goals for 2022. How many leads to hit your target? So of course, your goal is to increase sales. And to do that, you need to do it in 2 ways. One is acquiring new clients. The other one is through repeat business. And as I mentioned before, distributors, for the most part, many of them are focused on the repeat business part, because this is a type of industry where you get a lot of repeat business, which is one of the benefits of this industry. But you need to also be acquiring new clients, because at some point you reach some certain attrition and you're going to have clients leaving for XYZ reason, and you need to be generating new clients. So for the most part, distributors normally resort to reaching out to outbound sales, which I'm not saying anything negative about that. You do need to do that. You do need to have a certain amount of effort dedicated to that, especially if you're not having any inbound leads. And then what we're going to talk about today is how to get inbound leads, because once you get that going, it only increases, it only gets bigger and stronger. And eventually you don't even have to go out and get, but you're not going to depend on that as much as you would if you don't have any leads coming in. Now, as far as setting goals, this is a Harvard study. I really always liked to remember this. They did a study where they interviewed Harvard students, and they were graduating, and 84% didn't have any specific goals, 13% had goals but not written down, and 3% had clear written goals and plans to accomplish them. The results came in where 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals at all. And 84%, okay, more. Now, even more staggering, the 3% who had clear written goals were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. So having clear written goals would be my first recommendation. You want to have a goal setting framework, and I have a video that I did about this. I can send it to you if you'd like. I go over my process that is based on the 12-week month. It's an excellent book. And you want to have your goals written down, and then you have 1 year goals, you have quarterly goals, and then monthly goals based off of the long-term goals. And then you want to have a stopping point where you kind of stop and take a look and measure and see what happened and what you're going to change. And I cannot tell you how beneficial that is. So what are your goals for 2022? So you want to set revenue targets, and you want to be realistic. You know, if you want to go to $2 million and you're now doing 300,000, it's probably not realistic that you're going to achieve that in 1 year. So you want to have realistic goals and set revenue targets and break it down per month, and what type of clients will be the most profitable, so you focus on them. And what do you need your average yearly client value to be? Because sometimes the first time the client orders a small order to try you out, and then they have a bigger budget and they spend it throughout the year, or vice versa, you spend it all on the first order. Or maybe when they order from you, they already spent all their money, but that doesn't mean that they don't have that budget for you for next year. So that's why it is very important to look at the client, not per the single individual order they sent, but kind of as a whole, their yearly budget, what kind of activities they do. Also, how many new clients will this require? And I know that this is a little up in the air because it could vary, but you want to have an idea of what's going to be your minimum client worth, so that you don't waste time with clients that are not going to add value to your bottom line. Most importantly, what changes do you need to make in your business to achieve this? So what are your goals for 2022, and what changes do you need to make in your business? Let's talk about the new marketing landscape reality. How does it affect your distributor business? Why you must be found online? I know that a lot of you are not wanting to face this, and you continue to hang out with people that think that it's not necessary, and all you do is just knock on doors. But that is not reality, okay? Reality is very different. Reality is that search, social, and mobile have changed the game tremendously for every single business, promotional product businesses included. As you know, with last year, e-commerce kind of went off the charts. These are the top online sellers by revenue. Now, let me tell you that Amazon was something like 300 million and Walmart was like 60 million or something like that. Like, the difference is really big. Nonetheless, these are the top sellers online. I know these are retail, and you may be thinking, well, that's retail, it's not really my business. But yes, because these websites and this way of buying are setting the new standards in the buying process for everyone. So you have to see, what can I learn from these sellers? What can I do to offer a similar experience, even though it's, I guess, it's not going to be exactly the same. These are business to consumer, but how can you adapt to your business to business? And that's what I've been working on for a long time. I'm fascinated by it for some reason. I want to point out this example because it was amazing to me that a store like this, it could have made the list of those top online sellers, because this company owned and market share a large portion of it for decades. And because they did not embrace the online space and they ignored it and dismissed it, they went bankrupt. This happens to be a store that I go quite often because right next to it is the pet store where I get all my stuff for my cat. So I watched this kind of close, and it was very, very sad for me. Now, the new reality is that with COVID, a lot of big companies sent their older staff to retirement. As they reopened and came back to work, new people are in there, and all the new people are much younger. They grew up with technology, so it's very familiar to them. So this is really who you are dealing with right now. So you cannot keep your head buried in the sand. And I'm going to say that if you're here, you are probably not one that wants to keep your head buried in the sand. Online focus distributors are growing like wildfire. You've probably read about buyouts and about of online distributors, and one that I've been following for a long time is swag.com. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I started following them a few years ago when I saw that they made the list of the Inc. 5000. I wanted to see if any distributors had made it, and I found them. They were doing a superb job in their marketing. They had great branding, very distinct, very different from all the other online sellers. They were doing digital marketing the right way, great content, great SEO, great use of paid advertising, very focused on the customer. And all of this great marketing helped their business grow exponentially in a relatively short time, until they were able to sell it for a nice chunk of money. So I think that they're a great example of what can be achieved with the right marketing in place. As I mentioned before, when somebody needs something, they go to Google. Younger people are not going to wait for you to show up and knock on their door. They're going to go online and they're going to search for what they need. They may be searching for something because they need to buy it right now. They may be searching because they want ideas, an event, maybe in a few months. So they're going to go online. So ideally, you want them to find you. You want to be the one that has the answers that they're looking for. B2B buyers are up to 85% through their journey before they contact the vendor. What this means is that when somebody calls you, reaches out to you, sends a form, or however they contact you, they've already looked at a number of other vendors online, and somehow they want to do business with you. So they're ready to buy. They are the low-hanging fruit. And I know this for a fact because I was always amazed to get the orders through a form. And sometimes they were quite large orders that I would think, wow, is this for real? And it was. So I know that this stuff works. I know how to do it. And that's why I'm sharing this with you. Now, let's talk about the fundamentals of marketing success so that all of this works. Now, the good news is that the fundamentals, when you have those in place, they don't change. Algorithms change. Google is always changing things around, but the fundamentals will keep you where you are in the rankings and in the eyes of Google. you got to get those right. So we're going to go over that. The first thing, number one, is this is something that is as old as marketing, which is direct response marketing. This is how I learned marketing before the internet, and it's still 100% applicable. And if you get this right, everything else will come together. So it's all about matching your audience, your message, and the medium. Number two is being aware of your business, your buyer's journey, because somebody's not going to know that they need something and going to call you, place an order right away. That's why it's so hard to have an outbound plan, because you may reach somebody that is a qualified buyer, is the right person, but they're not ready at that point for XYZ reason. So you have to be aware of the steps that they follow from the time that they know they need a solution to the time that they make the first purchase. And then, of course, comes their retention, which is important. As I mentioned before, this is a business where repeat purchases are the name of the game. So you want to be aware of that. The point is that you want to be putting your marketing in front of your buyer's journey across their path, all throughout their journey. Number three is measure progress. You have to have some KPIs, key performance indicators, because sales and orders is not the only indicator. You have to have some other indicators that tell you that you're making progress. Examples of that would be how many visitors you're having on your website, how many people are leaving without exploring your website, where are they going, what keywords are you ranking for, and in what place are you? Which ones do you have on page 1? Which ones do you have on page 10? If you're not on page 1, you don't exist, by the way. But the way you do it is say, okay, I have this great keyword on page 10, so I'm going to work to get it to page 1. So usually you would look at all the reports. This is Google Analytics. It's really nothing better than this. I think the most accurate, the one that gives you the most comprehensive information, that you should have this installed on your website. It's free, and you should be looking at it every month, at least once a month. Take a look and see what's happening. It gives you so much information as to the direction that you need to go that it's really worth it. So let's start with the audience message media. For the audience, I've talked about this before, and I'm briefly going to go over this, but you want to know what type of company they work at. They may be of a certain type of industry, and what position do they have within the company? What's important to them as it relates to your services and products, and other things as well. You want to know them, as the more you know them, the better. What does a day at work looks like for them? What questions do they ask? And who do they answer to? Because sometimes they have layers of approvals. They're not the ones that make the final decision. So you want to know who do they answer to. And if they have to deal with a lot of red tape, maybe they ask them for things in a certain way. And so you want to know all of this. In the end, what can you do to help them and be indispensable? So to understand what your buyers want, I'm going to give you a few hints. Buyers like to do their own research. They like to come to you after they've done research. If you do the final research and the final things, they still want to do some of it on their own time. They also want convenience in the buying process. They want to know who they're dealing with. They want access to a human. You want to make sure that they know that you're going to be right there. They also want somebody that has expertise in their industry. So for example, let's say that they are looking to do trade shows and they're in the software industry. So they want to know what works for trade shows in the software industry. Now, you know that you can kind of work with any industry and help any industry, but they don't know that, and they're going to feel that you're the right supplier if you talk their language. One last word about what buyers want. 86% of buyers are willing to pay more for a great customer experience. Pay more for a great customer experience. So contrary to popular belief that they're going to go with the cheapest price, it's not necessarily true. Now, yes, maybe in the first interaction, you have to lower your price because nobody wants to pay more for the same thing. To them, you have a water bottle by this maker, and they're looking at some other water bottle for the same maker, and yours costs 10% more. They're not gonna, why would they pay 10% more? And you cannot tell them, oh, because I'm gonna give you better service. You don't know that. You may have to match it, that first purchase, and as an investment on the future client and lifetime value of the client. Then you service them really well and they're going to stay with you. Customer experience is very, very important. So the secret sauce is the right message. You want to have the content on your website, and the way you explain what you do has to talk to them, has to answer their questions. They have to feel, wow, that's for me. All we do here in my business is look for ways to improve the messaging and touch on those points that we think are going to answer questions that the audience has, so that they choose our clients in this case. 30% of buyers in the B2B space have ruled out a provider because of poor quality content. What does that mean? They visit your website is really generic, and they move away because it's not what they're looking for. So what are they looking for? So one way of knowing that is by what are they typing on the browser. In this case, this is a product-specific search. And the way that you can find that out is, one of the ways is by typing something on the browser, and you'll see that a window opens with other versions of the question. And that tells you things that people type on the browser. So that gives you an indication of what to write about and what are the topics that they're interested in. In this case, it's product focused, but it could be anything else. Now, to further check on your keywords, there's nothing better than Google AdWords. It's a part of the Google suite. It's free to use. That's where you can research. Let's say, for example, you're going to have bags as a feature product that you want to promote. You can look up and see how many searches, and on the right, you'll see how many are the average searches, paid searches. But this is good information for you to know what are people searching for, and gives you a lot of variations. Like in all of those lines, if you open up, you'll see different variations of the searches and how many average per month there are. So this is a very valuable tool that you want to be checking from time to time. Next is you want to determine your topics. Once you have decided what type of products you're going to work with or what specialty you want to determine, say 3 to 5 topics to develop content around. In this example, I put sustainability. So you could talk about sustainability in many ways. You could talk about giveaway ideas for a fair. You could talk about materials, compare materials. You could also talk about imprint methods, clean imprint methods, and which ones to stay away from. You could talk about how to choose a product, also compliance incentive ideas, among other things. There are many, many other types of things. Each product gives you an idea. 10 bag ideas that are eco-friendly, and you can list the 10 bags and show pictures and links to your shopping site. Once you have come up with your content, you can do different forms of content. You can write a blog post, of course, that's the obvious one. You could also have a web page. Like if you specialize in sustainability, that's one of your key areas that you want to work with. You can have one web page dedicated to sustainability. You could also send your newsletters. The same blog post goes on the newsletter. You can do videos, infographics. You can write ebook guides. You can have checklists. You can have research reports, case studies, and also graphic images for your social media, project showcases, quotes, and many times you can go in your client's industry to find out different types of things that they're sharing in their industry that you could kind of piggyback on with your content. Now let's take a look at the big picture of all the online marketing channels that you should be tapping into to maximize your lead flow online. There are so many platforms, so many channels, new ones coming out every day. It could be very confusing if you focus on the channels. These channels are vehicles. The point mentioned before is to deliver your message to your audience. Now, to help visualize how all of this works and where all these channels go and how to use them, I came up with this graphic. I call it the marketing wheel. The marketing wheel represents all of your marketing, starting with the website right at the center of your marketing. Then comes a layer of SEO optimization, and then comes the online promotion. So the foundation is your website and your SEO. Most people want to go right onto social media and they don't have a good website and they don't have any SEO, they don't have any good content. And that's where there's a total disconnect and it just doesn't work. So your website is your hub, is where everything is coming to. The purpose of your website is to get traffic. This is your place of business. Once somebody comes to your place of business, you can then cater to them and hopefully they will convert. And your website is open 24/7. Sometimes you don't realize it, but it is. So you want to make sure that it has all the things that it needs to have to convert visitors and also attract the right traffic. For that, the cookie cutter concept is not going to do. Now, I understand many of you may not have a budget to invest in a custom website, but you can start by customizing the website that you have, whatever industry website you have, kind of change the content and change the pictures, the images, and also add a blog. I have a post on my website as to how to add a blog to any website that is going to be yours. So in the future, if you change platforms with your main website, you can just take that blog anywhere. You're not going to lose all of the traction that might have gotten online. The point is to maximize conversions from visitors. To do that, you want to, number one, first and foremost, speak to your target avatar. Address their fears and frustrations, and speak to why they should choose you. You also want to have authentic images of you and your team. Now, if you are a small team, if you work on your home, well, you probably have a dedicated space that is your office. You can totally take pictures of your workspace and put them online. That makes you real. You go to 90% distributor websites and they don't have one single photo of themselves anywhere, and people want to know who they're going to be working with. So you're discarded if you don't have any. So if you can include video elements, and videos can be welcoming to your website, videos of each of your services, videos explaining why somebody should contact you versus your competition, and things like that. You also want to showcase online reviews on your homepage. This is very, very beneficial. You want to get the reviews on Google My Business. There are apps that you can use to pull those reviews right from Google. And the advantage is that these are real people that wrote those reviews. So this is very, very valuable to a visitor as a trust element and credibility. You also want to make it easy for visitors to take action and contact your company. So clearly have your phone display, tell them how to contact you, have a form, and have a chat feature if you can. I know it might be hard to man the chat feature, but as soon as you can, and maybe you can hire a service with the basic questions, and use chat bots also to answer initial questions and start a conversation while they come and get you. So you want to leverage marketing automation and text messaging to really maximize your conversion rates. I have a checklist that I am going to include with the recording of this webinar. It gives you an idea of what to have on your website. Okay, so the next layer on our marketing wheel is the SEO. SEO is going to help you get found. When people are searching, they're going to find you on the top searches. Now, yes, that takes a while. It's not something that happens in a night, and you want to get started. So let's take a look and see what are some ranking factors for Google. Two major ranking factors are the relevance of the website and the authority. The relevance has to do with the content on your website. The authority has to do with the domain. And domain meaning the credibility of your domain in the eyes of Google, and things like how long have you had that domain, also how many backlinks, social signals, reviews, those things tell Google that you're a valid business. Now, there's so many millions of websites, so Google has to sort through all of that before showing them in any results, because they don't want to show any fly-by-nights. So these are the domain factors, and then the on-page and off-page factors. So how do we maximize each? So the on-page would be content, of course, the quality of the content, the context of the content also. What's going to help you improve that, you must set keywords that you're going to be tracking, because you want to be found for the right terms. Like sometimes clients come to us, they have a lot of traffic but little conversions, and the reason is because they're ranking for cheap t-shirts, and they don't want to sell any cheap t-shirts, but here they are ranking for cheap t-shirts. So that happens quite often, so you need to kind of check that all the time. That's when analytics come in place. Now the next one, which is the authority and the off page, you want to be on social media, because social media tells Google that you're valid. And if you type your name, your company name on the browser, you'll see your website come up, not your URL, but your name, your business name. You should see your website come up and the list of all your platforms where you are, like, or if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, you should see that listed. You could do that test right now. Also, if you video on YouTube, it's going to send backlinks. So that also works. There are other factors that are not as critical for the distributor business as they are for local service businesses, but you also want to benefit from this, which are proximity related. Meaning, if somebody searches promotional products, your town, then you want to show up. Like in my days, promotional products for Lauderdale, I was #1. So that's kind of something that Google helps you achieve. Google My Business, which I think was just changed to Google Business Profile. They change the name of this every year, it seems. So you want to have your business listed to build the profile. It's free, and it just, you want to do it because Google appreciates their own properties being used. And also you want to have your reviews on Google and post regularly, which you can synchronize with your other apps that you use for posting. You can just include this and post automatically. And also you can add some products on there. It's just another way of promoting the business and having bigger footprint online. There are also some technical aspects that Google looks at, and those are website speed, your URL structure, page errors, a sitemap. There are more, but these are really important because, again, Google likes to show pages that work well and that are going to be relevant. Lastly is your promotion. You are going to promote your content and your business, and you do that through social media and also paid advertising. That helps you get discovered as people are interacting in their social media platforms. They see you. Something that is going to help you expand. Social media deserves its own webinar, so I'm not going to talk too much about social media. But I am going to stop for a moment on paid advertising. Paid advertising is something that can help your SEO, and it can help your traffic while you build your SEO. So it's something that is worth looking into. So of course, there is so many different options, and they keep growing, such as social media ads, Google ads, and product ads on Google. Now, I don't recommend that if you're just starting out to go with product ads and display ad network. You would need to start testing before, because Google ads are expensive. You're basically bidding for clicks, and it takes about $1,000 for Google to figure out what's going to be your best combination. So you need to have a budget to play with while you get the right thing. Again, I would not do this initially without having a campaign put together, because a lot of the product ads are people looking for the cheapest price. Or you want to use it as a foot in the door, you got to really think this through a little. The social media ads, out of all the ads, I like LinkedIn are, to me, good ads, and also Pinterest is also a good one. LinkedIn ads are not cheap, but well done. You're going to hit your target audience. Now, for any distributor that has certain traffic on their website, retargeting benefits you, because 70% of visitors leave your website and never come back. And what you do with retargeting is that you place a cookie on the visitor. Google shows them your ads, or Facebook shows them your ads. Now, this has changed in the last few months, especially with Apple, that changed privacy settings and all that. So that's changing, but that's still a very good option, because it's not that expensive, and you can really get your visitors to see your business again. Let's talk about your plan. Preparation. It is so important. And I love this quote from Lincoln. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first hour sharpening my axe. So let's talk about the plan. The first thing you want to do is make an assessment of where you are. What do you have in place right now? So you want to look at your website. We just went through a number of things that you need to have on your website. So you may have to start by optimizing your website. Are you doing any advertising anywhere? Maybe you're advertising in local directories. Is that working for you? Emails and follow-up systems, maybe you have to upgrade that. Marketing collateral and self-promos. Do you have a kit that ready to go if you're invited to do a trade show or a tabletop show, or you're going to start scrambling because you don't have a nice banner and you don't have, so prepare those things so that you're ready. Social media profiles. Do they need some kind of refreshing? Customer feedback. Do you need to have more reviews? What marketing did you do for the previous year and what worked? Sometimes we think, oh, this didn't work, but maybe if we changed some things, it may work. So you don't want to discard it. You want to tweak it. Some things need to be discarded, of course, but generally speaking, you want to take a close look at that if you did any of it. And also, you want to perform an SEO and ads audit. Even if you've never done any SEO, you want to know how Google finds your site and what they see as a starting point. Even if you've never done anything, you'll be surprised that sometimes distributors have certain presence online, even though if it's very, very far down Google pages, but you want to know that. So let's talk about your goals. You want to set goals. And of course, your goals are based on the revenue that you want to have. And you have to do this in an incremental way. I've talked to distributors that were doing $700,000 in 2019. And with the pandemic, they went down to 200. So in 2019, they were tasting getting to $1 million. But now they're like, oh my God, now what do I do? So you have to kind of have a recovery plan, have some kind of a goal to maybe double your sales this year based on your resources that you have. So you want to set a budget. You need to invest in your business. There are plenty of low-priced resources in the industry, free resources, but free is only going to get you so far. So maybe you want to hire a graphic designer to get you nice looking images for your website or your own advertisement and your own marketing pieces, your banner. These are worth the money. Sometimes people, oh, well, what's going to be my return on investment if I get a new banner? Well, this is an investment in your business, so it's not gonna give you a direct result. It's gonna give you a indirect result that you cannot measure directly. So you want to know your numbers when you establish your budget. And I'm referring to your cost of acquisition of a client and how much is a client worth to you in terms of their lifetime value. So if you were to look at your clients, what is their lifetime value? So that gives you an idea of what makes sense in terms of dollars to invest. Next, you want to do some brainstorming on different things that you could do, different activities. Nothing is off the table. Just start coming up. If you have a team, have everybody contribute. And once you have that long list made, from there, you want to determine what are the marketing activities that you're actually going to implement. And you want to make it doable. If it's just you, you may have to dedicate a Saturday morning to working on your business, on your marketing, not answering emails or product research, none of that. Your own marketing. It's what it takes. It's what I did for a while. I still do it, by the way, because you have to put in the time. Nothing happens by itself. So you want to determine those activities that you can actually handle. Then you're going to schedule it. Maybe you hire somebody to help you, or you're going to put it in the calendar and you want to have all of the things that you can do. For example, your anniversary, your important dates, the summer, things that are important. Maybe there is a fair in your town. Like, for example, here in Florida, we had the boat show. So I knew that the boat show was around October, and I knew that in August I started marketing to all the boat show people. Next is track and adjust. You're putting all this time into it. You're putting all this effort. You're doing research. You are creating content. You are writing blog posts, sending emails, doing social media, posting. So you want to see how this is working, and you look at this in your analytics reports. You want to see how many people read your articles, how many people clicked on your emails, and this gives you a good indication of how are you matching your audience interests. And the more you do this, the better you get at really knowing how to adjust. And you want to be experimenting. You want to try different things because this is not an exact science. So take the time to track and make adjustments. To conclude, I want to say that marketing is like planting a garden. At the beginning, you have to prep the soil, you have to put the seeds, you have to take care of it every day, make sure that you have enough water. You don't see much happening. As you take care of it, eventually you start to see the plants grow, you start getting flowers, fruit, and you don't have to put as much time into it anymore. You have to take care of it, but you don't have to spend as much time. It continues to grow on its own. The same thing happens with marketing, the exact same thing. And that's all for today. I hope this was useful and this gave you very specific ideas and clarity on what you have to do. And most importantly, take action. Make sure that you implement some of the things we discussed. I promise it will make a big difference in your business. Thank you so much for your time.